Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. Today is, and you're going to have to let me go into nearsighted mode here. Let me see. We got August 4th, 2015. My name's Rex Harris, and as always, it's an honor and a privilege to be able to spend some time with all of you here this evening. As you can see, I've got a distinguished panel with me here this evening of people that I've just met person to person recently and have been working with since probably the beginning of time, like my friend Mr. Bill Rowe here. We probably worked together in a previous life or something, who knows. But anywho, wanted to take a minute and introduce everybody that's here and share with you why it is that we're doing what we're doing with this series of workshops. I spoke with Tracy and Jessica and Mary this weekend, along with a lot of other people at the event in Las Vegas, and the one thing that we kept hearing from everybody was that they're not getting the technical and mechanical elements of this so they can begin to put their presence together online, being a blog, a marketing system, an incentive to give away for the purposes of building your list. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a series here on mechanics. We're going to do this tonight, tomorrow night, and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and then it will be available for the members of the Academy of Home Business inside there. All right? So we're going to start tonight with how to create a Goodwill incentive. A Goodwill incentive is basically a free gift that you create. Let me know you guys can see my screen okay. Is that bouncing right?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay. It's a gift that you create to give people in your target audience before you ever ask them for any money. It's basically creating a front end that's focused exclusively on the free solution to the problem that they are working to resolve. And there are hundreds of examples that I could give you here this evening in terms of audiences and who to find what, where, so on and so forth. And I'm going to get into that a little bit. But what we really want to focus on is the mechanical elements of creating this content. All right. So tonight we're going to start focusing on the creation of a PDF document, because PDF documents are vital to the success of your marketing system. If you look at inside Empower Network or inside of any of the training-based resources and opportunities that exist in our workspace, or probably even in many of the network marketing back offices, you'll see that PDFs are utilized to give people simple instructions to follow or to provide them, you know, additional value to what it is that they've already received. And then, of course, probably the most notorious reason for using a PDF as a home business owner is to build your list by giving away an incentive that provides, you know, again, that free side of the solution that people are looking for. And let me give you a couple of examples here, all right, just so we can kind of stay on point. I had a couple of conversations here last night and today with a new friend that I made here on Facebook recently, whose name is Barbara. And Barbara is in the anti-aging niche. Okay. So what we began to do was search through and begin to chunk our keywords to find an audience that basically matches us as a person, you know, as close as possible. Because if you look at what all of the top marketers are doing right now, all of their systems are being built in such a way that they are building relationships with people on virtual autopilot using Goodwill incentives in video. Okay, there's been a couple that have come up recently that have just been brilliant. But in order to utilize something like that, you have to know how to put all of that together. Well, there's good news in the fact that as you're building a system, once you have the foundation in place, the foundation can get you the results that you're looking for so you can begin to scale up and expand your marketing system. Okay, so what we're looking to do is give you guys a basic foundation for creating this base that will consist of the free incentive that you're giving away, the Goodwill incentive, a blog, bridge pages, lead capture pages, and your autoresponder. Because once you can master the basics of utilizing these tools, then you can start focusing on content creation for the purposes of getting results. And as you begin to build your list, as we'll demonstrate through this course, your list is going to be, depending on how you connect with them, that catalyst that begins to spend time on your blog as you continue to, incorporate Goodwill into your content. And through that will not only be so endeared as to share your content in the social media and leave comments and likes and the other requirements that make up what search engine optimization is today, so you can benefit from the traffic you're sending from your list to your blog through the activity on your blog through your subscribers. That basically compiles into what the Google algorithm looks for in terms of bringing content closer to the front page now, and your subscribers basically begin that flow of traffic that you need to start propelling your blog forward. Okay, let me grab a drink of water here real quick. So basically what we're really looking to do quickly and efficiently is get this system set up so we can start attracting subscribers and begin to continue that giving of goodwill to them so we can get them to the blog and make this viral traffic flow happen. And it can all be done with social media. And as we're going to talk about too, it can be done through boosting posts on fan pages on Facebook toward your blog. We learned a fantastic strategy for that in Vegas this weekend, and we're going to show that to you guys. So I think that covers everything that I wanted to cover in kind of the introduction here. So let's get into the mechanics of this. All right, I'm actually going to start with a clean slate here, just so you guys can see some of the basic functions here. In creating a PDF document, I know that you can use Microsoft Office 2013, and you can use what I use here, which is called Open Office Writer, which is available for free through openoffice.org. If you don't have a version of Microsoft Word that will allow you to create a PDF, this is how I create my PDFs. I come in here and put them together, as what you would probably refer to as a Word document, or in this case, an Open Office document. And then by the simple click of a button, I can turn that document into a PDF. Now, I've got a sample for you here to look at.
And will that work on Chromebook?
I don't know if it will work on Chromebook or not.
All right.
No, it doesn't, because I have a Chromebook and I have to use the Open Office on my regular PC.
Okay, so here's an example of one that we created recently that we're going to be using to reach people on Periscope. What we've noticed about Periscope is that you get a huge diversity of people that will pop in to see what it is that you're doing, and you're going to find that a large percentage of those people have never given any consideration to making money online or starting a home-based business. So when you're doing a Periscope, what do you do that you can give to those people to basically introduce them to what you're doing? Well, you create an incentive to give them. And this is a simple one that we created here recently called How to Turn Your Passion into Profit in 90 Days or Less Using the Internet. And the gist of this is a story about a golfer. His name is Bob. And the question that we post to them is, what would your life be like if you knew how to sit down at your computer or pick up your smartphone and make money using the internet whenever you wanted to? And then we tie Bob's passion for golf into his marketing strategy for generating affiliate commissions for everything from Amazon to ClickBank, or even into resources that he would use to build his system. Excuse me. Still kind of getting over that cold from last week. In this case, the blogging platform that we're promoting called Kolatu, Aweber, the autoresponder, and ClickFunnels that we're using for lead capture pages, which we're going to be showing all of you here as we go through this course. Because these are the core foundational tools we have chosen. Excuse me, and the reason why is because Aweber has demonstrated to us over the years that they continue to be probably the top autoresponder out there and probably the most user-friendly in terms of someone learning how to use it. And then ClickFunnels, just because ClickFunnels gives you the ability to create everything that you need to create to set up your presence online and convert subscribers to signups and sales through everything from the ability to create your own membership site to both live and automated webinars, all of which we're going to be showing you guys how to do through this course on mechanics. Okay, so to create one of these documents, it's relatively simple, and you don't really need to know all of the elements within the software in order to make it work. You really need to know a handful of basic functions, which I'm going to share with you here this evening. One of the most useful things that you can learn how to do with this is enlarge text. Okay, because enlarging text and you know, bolding and just learning the basics there is what. Oh, did I shut that down? I didn't mean to shut that down. I wanted to keep it open for reference. Let me go back and get that. Oh no, there it is right there. Okay, and you'll see where I've used instances of this as far as creating headlines and things of that nature to really put together a piece of content that looks nice and gives people some real value. So the basic functions here, for those of you that don't know how to utilize a word processor, is the ability to change the font type here. And one of the fonts that I really like to focus on for creating headlines is the impact font. And I'm also a big fan of the Georgia font. You'll see me use those probably more so than anything, just because to me it's a font that's easier to read on the eyes, and the impact really jumps off the page when you want to call people's attention to something. And I'll give you an example. We actually did updates to the Academy of Home Business site today and added some new things here based on this training that we're developing right now. And you can see where I incorporate that impact font in certain places to, you know, call the attention to something here. Okay, so And in terms of content creation, we're going to go through all that as well. The days of creating short little 500 to 1,000 word blog posts and actually getting any love from the search engines are over. The people that have been blogging 2,000 to 3,000 words, and I mean really basically like they put it this weekend, basically, ebooks online as blog posts. That's how a lot of them are getting their traffic and stuff like that now. All right. So you want to be able to enlarge text in bold text as needed. Another basic function that you're going to want to have is the ability to insert images. And depending on which software that you're using, usually you can go to insert and picture and then choose any image that you would want to add to the PDF document. Okay. As far as creating images goes, okay, there are some simple ways to create images, and I know that we've had some training on this inside the academy, and we can certainly add more. You learning how to create graphics when you are in the business of personal branding can be something that's very beneficial to you. The resource that I have now, I'm going completely here out on a limb because I have never even visited this website before, but I know there's people using it, and they talked about it this weekend, and it's a resource called Canva, and it's a design program that gives you the ability to create images and whatnot. Now, like I said, I don't know anything about this, but this would be something to explore when it comes to creating images. Okay.
Rex, that's the one I use for the fan page.
This is the one that you use for the fan page.
Yeah, I use Canva.
Okay, and this is there a training, an up-to-date training on this?
I don't think I've done a Canva one. I did one on PageModo and PicMonkey, but I could do a quick Canva one.
Okay. All right, so, but yeah, there's a couple of different resources that you can use out there for creating graphics. I use a program called RealDraw Pro, and RealDraw Pro is available on a website called MediaChance.com. I believe the going rate for this software right now is about $55. But this is a great piece of software for people that want to learn how to put images together and create cool stuff for Instagram and Facebook or whatever, Pinterest, anything that you want to use images for in the social media. I know Michelle Grigsby has done some training along the lines of image creation too, and I know that she does a lot of images for what she does, marketing online. But if you look at what a lot of people do, it's just more learning how to incorporate images into the story than it is to actually become, a master creator of graphics. I'm not a master creator of graphics. I have just taken the time to learn some basics on, creating graphics. And it really doesn't take a whole lot, as I'm going to demonstrate to you right here. We're going to go down here and choose the impact font, okay, to overlay some simple text over an image. All right. Now, one of the resources that I utilize for images that keeps me out of copyright infringement trouble is a resource called bigstockphoto.com. And their images are pretty reasonable in terms of price and whatnot. And I usually just buy a series of credits and then download my images from here. So anything that I wanted to use as far as imagery is concerned, I'll just type in the word blog here, for example, and see what comes up. Now, I'm not actually going to use one of my credits here to use this image. I'm just going to grab a snapshot here as an example. I mean, if I can take an image like this, okay, paste it here, all right, and simply learn how to layer, okay, which is very simple in RealDraw Pro. I have two buttons down here. I can take my highlighted image, move it forward or backward, change the color of my text, all right, and then put just a little bit of a shadow behind it to make it pop. I mean, that's really all there is to this. I mean, we're not actually going through and piecing all of these things together. We're just basically, you know, learning how to take the pictures that we're using and add a little bit of decoration to them using this strategy. So, and the other option when it comes to graphics too is outsourcing. Okay, if you go to Fiverr.com, you will find a lot of people here that will do graphics for you. A lot of people do really good work when it comes to creating, you know, Facebook covers and group covers, and maybe something like I showed you for a title bar for a PDF or something like that. And you can hire those people to build those for you here. And I've actually bought some graphics off of Fiverr from time to time, and you know, the quality of the graphics has been solid. I've never had any complaints about that, and the majority of the time, you know, they're done within a relatively short period, you know, 24 to 48 hours. All right, so this will give you guys an idea as far as, you know, creating actual images that you want to utilize in your PDF documents. The one thing that you do have to be cautious of when it comes to getting your images, and they covered that this weekend because things are getting a lot more touchy, what a lot of people will do is they'll go to Google and they'll look for something to do with their target audience. Let's just use video camera for example, and then go to images and use images like this for their PDFs and stuff like that. That's a no-no. You will most likely, even with very little exposure, okay, it doesn't take much exposure for your stuff to fall into the hands of people that say, that's copyright infringement, and they can come after you for that. We learned this weekend that they can come after you, I mean, for thousands of dollars on copyright infringement. So it's very important that the graphics that you're using, you know, are graphics that you either have permission to use because you bought them and have the license to use them off a website like I do, or you actually had somebody create them for you. Okay? Be very careful when it comes to even using images like this, because they gave us an example of somebody this weekend that actually used a copyrighted image in their blog, and they came after him for, I think, $2,000 in fines, and he ended up having to pay it. So you've got to be on the ball when it comes to the images that you're selecting, when it comes to putting your PDF documents together, okay? When you're creating a PDF, it's a good idea to, like we did, give it some kind of branded header, the title of the PDF, okay, URL, introduction to the authors, legal info, and copyright. And basically with your legal info, you're just telling people that this document is intended only for free distribution, is not to be sold or altered, report any illegal distribution activity to said email address, and then the copyright. And then you get into creating the content. Now, with this particular PDF here, you can see, you know, yes, I did some graphic creation up here, obviously for design of the academy and whatnot, But the pictures that I used here were just pictures that I actually purchased here from bigstockphoto.com, and then incorporated, incorporated those images into this document, which just kind of gives people some imagery that they can utilize for following the story. Okay? When you're creating your documents, you want to incorporate imagery because it not only helps the content flow better, it breaks up, the text, so people don't get desensitized by like 3 pages of text, which a lot of people do. You'll notice I try to get some kind of image on every page. Okay. Now there's a couple of pages here where I don't, but you'll see that the majority of the time I'm looking to put an image on a page, and create some additional white space here too, and larger text to make it easier for people to read. Okay, you want to make your PDF very easy on the eyes with people. Okay, so let's get back here and we'll take, just for tonight's example, or for the example of the title for tonight. Where is that? This is what I'm looking for. How to create a free Goodwill incentive for your target audience. How to create a free Goodwill incentive for your target audience. Okay? There's my title, and usually my title is going, I like to have my titles take up at least 2 lines, so it's big and prominent on the page, like here. Okay? Excuse me, and then I've left the impact font here, and then in order to change this, in most word processing software, you're going to see this all look the same. It's just a matter of changing the size of the font to make it fit what I want there. Okay, and I'm usually a bigger fan of top line being bigger than smaller line. That may be a little bit nitpicky, but just ask my wife, she'll tell you I'm very symmetrical when it comes to that. I just like creating something that is going to be very beneficial to the reader and look good and be a quality experience for them. So just like that, I'm able to create a headline. And even if you don't have a graphic or something like this that's branded, there would be nothing wrong with just doing something simple like, a nicely centered document that had maybe your personal picture centered in the document and the rest of it was text, and you just used stock images to tell your story like I did here. That's perfectly acceptable. Okay, and that's probably going to be the easiest ways for you guys to get started right now. And actually, for those of you that want an action step to follow for tomorrow night, like I said, I'm not assigning homework or anything like that. I mean, we're all grown adults here. Those people that are watching this video, whether you're watching it, as during the development process or whether you're watching it inside the Academy of Home Business, you've made a decision to watch this video for a reason. What you choose to do with the information is up to you. There's not going to be anybody sitting here really cracking the whip and forcing you to do any of this. But for those of you that do want an action step and something to get accomplished by tomorrow night, we're going to give you something like that here before we wrap this up. Okay? So let me get back to this here. Okay? So you'll notice that the next line here we had presented by the Academy of Home Business and the URL. Okay, so basically this is just another line, and I'm going to use a little bit smaller a text here, and I'm going to use a different font. And I highly recommend that when it comes to using different fonts, that you keep it within a lot of times if you start using a lot of different type of fonts, it doesn't look good. So that's why I usually have a specific series of fonts that I stick to, and usually 3 fonts per document is going to be the most extreme, and you want to use fonts that look good together. Not all fonts look good together, and the ladies will be able to attest to this because not all shoes look good with certain accessories. You know, not everything is meant to go with one another just because you've got it in your closet. Okay, well, fonts are kind of the same way. You want to make sure that your fonts actually flow and work good together. So in this case, just be brought to you by the Academy. Actually brought to you by AHB Mech and Tech is what I'm going to put in this one. And then in this case, what I could do to drive traffic is I could lead this to the Academy, or I could utilize this to get people engaged in the private group on Facebook. So to do that, I would go up here to the Tech and Mech Mastermind group. Okay, and then grab a copy of the URL there. Okay, was she able to get on there? It's out of focus. I'm on it. It's out of focus. Oh, not sure. Does anybody else notice an issue with it with focus? It was looking good to me. Let me double check here real quick.
Yeah, I think it looks all right.
Looks fine on my end.
Yeah, it looks good there too. Okay, so I'm going to jump back into it. Okay, so it's a join our secret group on Facebook. Okay, and this is a technique that a lot of people overlook when it comes to building groups on Facebook too. You know, so just like that, now I've created an actual clickable link here. All right, and let me go back through and show you that one more time. Okay, anytime I want to link text to a specific place online, whether it's to a blog post or to a Facebook group or to a lead capture page, whatever it is, in most systems, and this includes blogs and stuff like that there too. This is a pretty common thing where when you just, and now it's going to give me grief. What did you do? Okay. Once I highlight here, all right, most of the time in creating that link, you're going to be looking for a little symbol, and it usually looks like a globe and a chain link, and it's called hyperlink. And you'll find this in your blogs. You'll find this in your word processing software. You'll find it in many of your graphics creator. Okay, once you've highlighted your text, all you have to do is click on that and then paste the URL that you want to link to there, and then click apply. And then the desired text that you want there, join our secret group on Facebook for free, for example. Okay. So now you'll see that I'm linked here. If I mouse over this, you'll see there that it'll tell me where that link points to, so I'll know my text is linked. And then here I can just adjust it size-wise if I want to. I thought that looked a little small there, so bump it up one. Okay, so just like that, I've got the headline there for a new PDF. And the other thing that's very important when you guys are doing this stuff, always make sure that you save your work as you go. Probably the most valuable information that you will ever get from me. Save your work as you go. So here I'm just going to create, I've actually been working on 2 different computers. I'm just going to create a new folder here called AHB Tech and Mech. And then the name of the PDF, which is how to create a Goodwill incentive for short, and then save that. So that way, anytime that you're working as you go, Just constantly get in the habit of saving your work, because, you know, depending on the computer that you're working on, heaven forbid that the power should go out and you've done a bunch of work that you haven't saved, and that's frustrating. I've been down that road. Okay. So that'll give you the basic idea of how to set up your PDF documents. Okay. And then the final step in that, as I had stated earlier, would be to incorporate, obviously, your name as the author of the PDF and put a picture in there so people know who you are, and then the legal info and the copyright info. All right. And this is a disclaimer here that you're willing to, that you could actually use for yourself by just copying that and pasting it and then changing your email address and your copyright information right there. Okay. So let me show you, for those of you that this is something that you can do here too, that's beneficial in learning how to create PDF documents, and it's how to create tables. And that's not near as techy or complicated is what it sounds. It just gives you the opportunity to make a better presentation, with the images and the text that you have. All right. It's very simple to do. Basically what you're looking at, if you're looking in OpenOffice or Microsoft Word, you're going to see something here that if you mouse over this icon that looks like maybe all white Rubik's Cube, I guess. You mouse over it, it should say table. And then you'll also notice that in your word processing software is that you're going to have a table option up here as well. Now, what I have found is the easiest if I want to create a table for the purposes of putting an image and text side by side is that it's just as easy to use this little button here, because basically what I want is I want two columns in one row. Columns being boxes side by side, vertical, row being horizontal, and then I click OK. Okay, and you'll see that I have this table here to work with now. So I can actually put an image in this side, and then I could put text in this side. So if I'm going to do like an author spot, okay, I would put my cursor on the left side of the box, go to Insert, go to Picture, and then from File, and then I can insert any picture that I want there. So let me go back here to, let's see, I think there's some pictures in here I can use. Maybe it's this one here I'm looking for. Yeah, here we go. This is the one I'm looking for. So here's an example. Here's a great picture of Jocelyn and Laura with Walt Bayless when we were in San Diego earlier this year. Okay. So I can use this for my image on the left side. And now what you'll notice here about this when you're creating these tables as well is that when you mouse over those lines, they're adjustable left and right. So what I would do is I would just take that line there and slide it over to where I had maybe like a nice little frame around, a nice little white frame around the image there. And then I'm going to slide this line up here too. So what is that? That should be, that should back up on me. I don't know why it's not. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Usually I should be able to, usually in HTML editor, I can tighten that up. I probably can later. So here I can do the, created by. Okay. Something just like this. All right. I actually want to. I'm actually going to make some adjustments to this here too, just to kind of keep it all centered and in place. And then if I want to center the entire table, oh, that's the wrong move. Used to be, we had a selection for doing it right there. All right. Okay. Now I can grab and drop here too to expand my images, like so, on the corners. All right. You guys will just have to insert one in there and play with it, see how it works. Then I'm going to make that text there a little bit smaller. And I usually try to not stack up too many of the same font on top of one another, especially if I'm using it as like a title attention font. So in this case, I probably switch this to Georgia font. Okay. All right. So that would be one way that you can insert table into what you're doing. Not quite sure why it's giving me grief tonight, though, because that should be an adjustable table row, and it's not allowing me to adjust. It's being stubborn. So okay. So a lot of this stuff, it's really just kind of a matter of getting in here and getting a feel for it and doing it. All right, because once you've done it a couple of times, it's going to become easier for you to do. All right, and the better that you get at doing this, the better you get at reaching your audience and stuff like that, the less often that you're going to have to do it. All right, but I mean, for those of you that were at the Las Vegas event this past weekend, you were there with me, and you heard how many different times from stage. I mean, you know, from top traffic people in our workspace, the power of giving away those PDF documents. They still do it, and they still do it successfully, and it's very effective. That's the reason it's important for you guys to learn the mechanics of doing this stuff, because for those of you that have worked with me for any length of time, you've heard me say this before, and you'll hear me continue to say it again and again. You're either going to do this stuff yourself, or you're going to pay somebody to do it for you. And that's just the way it is, you know. So okay, but you'll see if you just come in here and, you know, slide things around, you'll see that in most cases, I think it's just probably giving me grief because of that particular image. But I mean, either way, you know, I like to have additional white space anyway. So once I have this formatted to where I want it, and that's just too big to be entered for 2 lines, you know, I might add down here, you know, I could get a little bit creative, and then, you know, I could put my URL here, for example. Okay, I might even be able to add something else in there. You know, it's not like you have to follow this format exclusively. You could take this here and tableize it up over here or something like that, but, you know, just to fill up the space. But always keep in mind that white space when you're doing this stuff. Okay, don't cram and jam your text on top of one another. And use different italics, use lines that one's a little bit smaller than the other. Just kind of let your eye kind of give you the guide as far as if it's hard on your eyes, chances are it's going to be hard on the eyes of the person that's reading it. Okay, but I mean, you can see here I haven't really done anything outside of the box or fancy or anything like that. I've just utilized images that I already had and some basic functionality and knowledge of how this software works, so I can put together something that looks cool and professional. It's basic and it's simple, but it looks good. Okay. Now the other thing that I would do in this case here too is I would get rid of this black border here by moving my cursor up here, and if you watch what will happen, it turns into a little black arrow, and when I left click one time, it highlights that whole box for me. Okay, now I don't really want a black border on there. I don't want any border on there at all, so I can come up here, I can go to borders, and change the color to white on the border, and now when I publish this PDF, that border won't be there, but it's still there for a point of reference for me right now. Okay, so I'll show you that one more time. Okay, I just touch the arrow up there, and then you've got different kinds of borders that I can choose from here. If I do want a solid border on there, and there may be an occasion where you do want that, and that's fine. Okay, and then color my border white, done. Okay, that gives me more white space here, so I can just take, in this case, instead of, and I used to do this, I would just waste countless stinking hours trying to figure why in the world won't that do that. It's finally just got to the point where, if I do get an image that gets me a little bit of grief, I mean, I've already got a space here, I've got some spacing here, I want more white spacing here, I'm just going to leverage that space that I've got here, and this is the introduction to my content. So I still have that white spacing, it still flows, and now I've got a pretty decent title page set up here and ready to go. And then I'm just going to focus on utilizing and balancing the size and the boldness and the type of font that I'm choosing. All right. And again, I just, eyeball it to what fits my eye and what feels comfortable, and what I, if it's something that's pleasant for me to look at, there's a good chance it's going to be pleasant for somebody else to look at. But if you're using bright colors on this thing to where you've got to run out to your closet or wherever you keep your sunglasses, or the drawer, to put them on so you can see as you work, then your stuff's too bright and you need to dial it back a little bit. Should not require sunglasses. And I see some stuff out there that people put together that's just like, whoa, you're not going to miss that. There's no way. Okay? So that's, in a nutshell, the basic functionality of this software that I use to create these. And outside of clicking the PDF button to create the PDF, that's about it. There are probably 100 other things that I could do in this software that I mean, like if you're coming down here, well, Rex, what are macros? I have no idea. I've never used one. Don't know. Okay? I did not need to know how to use a macro to create this. Okay? And this is something that I can happily give away to somebody. It looks good. It's got great content. Guys, this was images and the same techniques I'm showing you here tonight. As you create your content, call people's eyes to certain areas on the page. If it's of really importance, if it's of real importance, you need to make sure that's the one thing that they do read. But don't overdo it. If you come in here and everything's red, red's not going to have any impact. If everything's highlighted yellow, it's not going to have an impact. You'll notice I didn't highlight all of this whole thing in yellow. highlighted specific things, you know, that kind of tell a story within a story. I said here, Bob loves golf. Okay, talk about golf with friends online and offline. You know, when he's done, you know, he lives, eats, breathes, and sleeps golf. Okay, the challenge is that Bob does not have the time and money freedom to do what he loves every day. How does Bob fix that? By turning his love for golf into a source of income using the internet. All right, which is exactly what we're going to show you guys how to do with the mechanics in this course. Because once you have a way to create a blog, and most of you do, and if you don't, you will here probably within the next day or so, if you're going to choose to work with us. Aweber is an autoresponder, or if you have another autoresponder you're already using and you know how to incorporate it into the things that you're using. But we're really focusing on these three because they're the most simple and effective for people to learn how to use. And the thing that, you know, I got to stand behind with Aweber, for those of you that aren't aware of this, that there are many autoresponders that exist in our workspace that actually work against people in the online marketing, MLM, home business niches because of the fact that those niches by many autoresponders are already pre-flagged. And I'll give you an example. One of the things that I learned about GetResponse here not long ago was that if you are using words, even if they're not necessarily spam trigger words, in your messages that indicate that you could be, you know, associated with a business opportunity or make money online or anything like that, that they will automatically give you a spam score of 1.4, and that's the lowest spam score that you can get. Well, with Aweber, you can still get a 0 spam score regardless of the audience that you're targeting, which was a huge thing for us. Because, I mean, myself, Jocelyn, Laura, you know, we really put some thought into, you know, as we were setting this up, you know, what are going to be the best resources to lead people to. Okay, we also have an option here for people that want to start learning how to build their own lead capture pages online as well with ClickFunnels, which basically gives you the ability to build anything that you want, like I said, including automated webinars, live webinars, lead capture pages, membership sites, and bridge pages. So I mean, it's just a fantastic system. But it's these three components, you know, that really make up the engine that runs your marketing system online. Okay, and we're going to get more into those tomorrow night, right? And I know we're coming up on 9 o'clock here, and other people have other things to do with their businesses and stuff, so we're going to wrap up here pretty quick. So hopefully this gave you guys good insight into the mechanics of creating your PDF document. Okay, a couple of words of advice on as far as creating content is concerned. Remember that when you're creating content, that it's not about pitching your product or your opportunity or anything like that. What you're looking to do with your Goodwill incentive is offer people who are looking for a solution to a problem, like we had talked about anti-aging earlier, you know, a cool free option of great value that can help them get a result. Okay, and I'm going to give you one more example here in the anti-aging niche before we wrap up. When I was working with Barbara last night, one of the things that we looked at were home remedies for wrinkles. And one of the things that we found here was pineapple juice for getting rid of the wrinkles around your eyes and the bags, and also a remedy for acne scars. Okay, so that's what you're really going for, you know, depending on who your niche audience is in terms of the content you're creating. Okay, if your target audience is personal development, same thing applies. All right, whoever it is that you're targeting. It doesn't matter. The same formula applies as far as giving them something that will help them get a result, because when you do that, okay, now you've earned their trust. And as you begin to incorporate more Goodwill from your autoresponder in your blog, and you begin to talk about, for those of you that are in Empower Network, something that you had learned in something called Top Producer Formula, you've given enough content on the front end to where it warrants the introduction to that particular solution to the problem that networkers might be looking for. Okay? And one other quick example, and then I promise we'll be done. Okay? These are a couple of graphics that I created today for the front page of the Academy. And again, this was just simple, easy to do. I actually bought this image here and this image here, and then just basically overlaid them like I showed you guys how I did tonight. And if you guys are interested in learning that in greater detail, let me know, and I'll be happy to show you guys that too. All right, but basically what we're looking to do with this Goodwill type of marketing and creating this marketing system that gives so big on the front end is get away from this short bridge approach to marketing online, which is, you know, connect with the audience, pitch and sell, pitch and sell, pitch and sell. Okay, with Goodwill marketing, I mean, this is all 100% about Goodwill content, Goodwill gift being your incentive, and Goodwill follow-up on the front end. Okay, and get them built up and excited about the information that you've been sharing with them. You know, the recipes for, you know, that formula that you used on your arms to get rid of the wrinkles or whatever it was, you know, and then you've got a captive audience there that when you begin to incorporate other healthy alternatives to anti-aging and show people other options, because I mean, this is really what this is all about. All right, what this is really all about is just showing people options, and then in terms of sales and whatnot, getting them into a system that basically does the upselling for you, which most people have with a business opportunity. Okay, what we're looking to do as marketers is bridge this gap between the solution to the problem or options that have a price tag from the audience and create this bridge that curates trust before you come at people with a sales offer. Okay, this has been a proven, tested marketing technique that's been used over and over again, and it starts with the ability to learn how to create content. You can do PDFs like this. You could even do a video series, and for a lot of you, maybe doing videos would be even better. John Penberthy created a fantastic video training series that he utilized, very similar to the techniques that we're sharing with you here this evening. So with that, it is the top of the hour, so we are going to wrap this up, and we will be picking back up tomorrow night. And tomorrow night, in the next video, we will be talking about the marketing system. We'll most likely be talking about creating the capture pages and funnels tomorrow night, and then Aweber Thursday night, and then probably next Tuesday night, I'm thinking, get into the blog. Don't hold me to that, but I think that's probably going to be the easiest way to implement this. And at any time, because you guys are part of that group, if you've got questions, you want people to take a look and see what you're doing, or you're running into a snag, feel free to reach out and ask for help. That's why we're here, guys. Don't feel like you've got to be a lone ranger. There's a lot of people with a lot of good technical skill within this group. Myself, Laura, Mr. Bill's got some great technical skill. So if you guys have questions when you're going through and building these things, feel free to reach out, because there's people here that can help you. Alrighty? So did you guys get something out of that tonight? Did you find that helpful?
Awesome. Thank you, Rex.
You guys, that was helpful. Okay, good. All right.
That's very helpful.
Thank
Good.
you so much for that.
All right, no problem. And like I said, tomorrow night we'll go into the lead capture pages. But one of the things I would encourage all of you to start doing right now, depending on who your target audience is going to be, if you guys know your avatar and you know exactly who it is that you want to reach, start putting that together. Identify the problems that your products and your opportunities solve, and begin to create content that's going to lead people to that point. But just give big along the way. A great way to do that is to take what you've learned, through the resources in the academy or wherever it is that you're learning from, and share what you've learned with people, especially if you're looking at targeting online marketers. But if you're not looking at targeting online marketers, find out if you've got if you're in an MLM deal with a network marketing based product, find out which problems those products solve. All right, and then go out there and find some cool, unique things that you can pass on. It's one of the things I talked about last night. If you were to go out and what's going to set you apart from everybody else? Well, it's doing something like this. Let's talk about the anti-aging thing again. And this is not an attempt to psychologically program you guys on anti-aging or anything like that. It's fresh in my mind from working with Barbara the last couple of days. So it's kind of where I'm pulling my information from. But like when we were doing that research last night, we found that pineapple juice was a remedy for wrinkles under the eyes. Well, you've already got people out there creating a bunch of content about that. But so if you want to take your game to the next level, go in and actually do a demo of that. Go in your kitchen, show people grinding up the pineapples, and if it calls for a little bit of olive oil, mix a little bit of olive oil in there, and then do the treatment and do it before and after of that. It might take a couple of days to complete that process, but if you can show people, hey, it works, that's, well, heck, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get the pineapples and olive oil and I'm going to try it. And they're going to try it one day and they're going to wake up and they're going to see, wow, that really did work. Wow, I guess.
And get a Gorilla Pod and do it on Periscope.
Yeah, and do it on Periscope. And, they'll be what they're thinking, wow, that Barbara gal, she knew what she was talking about. Let's see what else she's got. Oh, I just got an email from her. Here's her blog post. What's that say? Coconut oil for getting rid of acne scars. Oh, man, I got to check that out. That's what you're looking to create with people. If you're going out for the 100% express, intent of selling on the front end, and you really want to build a large organization, I'm completely convinced at this stage of the game that taking shortcuts is the slow road. Taking the time right now to put these things together and learning how to do it as efficiently as you can, so you have the tools to use to go out there and get done with your business what you want to happen and get to that point of freedom that everybody's looking for. So, all right, well, I'm glad you guys found this useful. I'm going to wrap this up for tomorrow. Like I said, same time, same place, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Watch the group and take a look, if you guys haven't already, at the video challenge that we've got going right now. We have this thing called the AHP Scavenger Hunt, and we utilize that for multiple purposes, primarily being to get people proactive in creating their presence online and connecting with other human beings, which is what makes all of this work. You can't create a clone of yourself on the internet without knowing how to create content and videos. So being able to clone yourself is the key to being able to generate income. I'm not going to say all of it's going to be on autopilot, but I'll tell you what, setting up this system and using it and creating that clone of yourself online, it sure makes your life a lot easier. So with that, I will see you guys tomorrow night. God bless you, and if you've got any questions, just post them in either one of the AHB groups, and we will make sure that they get answered. Thanks for coming out. We will see you guys tomorrow night. Bye for now.